What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for stopping in Speed Culture Studios. Glad you're here. Subscribe if you haven't already. Trying to get 3,000 subscribers by the first of the year. We're quickly approaching 2,000, so I think we can make it with your help. The big question in the title of the video: how did I put together a performance exhaust that sounds better than any other system on the market for the VQ37 for under 500 bucks? Well, this is what the video is all about today. So I've done several kind of general videos over the last several months about what this setup looks like, and there's some clips in some other videos here and there and some pictures on Instagram showing some of the details, but I guess I've never really gone into specific detail showing you underneath the car and kind of explaining how the system is set up and what its purpose was. So I guess that's what I'm going to do today, because I've had a bunch of people over the last couple of weeks especially asking what the setup is and where can I get the pieces, and blah blah blah. So we're going to try to address all of that right now in this video. And never mind how dirty the car is, we're going to wash it right after. We got a big meet to go to tonight, so we're going to do this video and we're going to wash it up, and stay tuned for that video coming up. All right, hopefully this shows up well enough. We'll start from the back to front. So we have the dual wall 4-inch tips, stainless, and then we'll move to the main part. So we have dual flow effects resonators. They are, I think, like 24 inches in overall length, but the resonator itself, I believe, is like 18 to 20 inches. They're 4 inches around, so they're pretty substantial resonators, and anybody that has one of these VQ engines knows that once you put test pipes on, they are quite raspy. So resonators are essential in toning down that rasp without restricting flow. I should say too that this catback system obviously is totally custom. It's bent up and fabricated at a local shop. I just told them what I wanted and they did it. Luckily they know how to weld and they can bend pipe pretty well. So looking toward the front of the car, jack, there you can see the Borla mid muffler. So this design is very similar to kind of the design of the Motordyne Shockwave, where there's a mid muffler setup, and that Borla muffler is actually essentially a resonated X pipe. So it's a dual inlet, and we'll see that when we move up there. So dual inlet, dual outlet, 2.5 inch. So all of the exhaust piping is 2.5 inch. Which gives it a nice throaty growl. It's a true crossover inside. There's a lot of cheap imitation crossover mufflers on the market, but this one does have a true X crossover inside with no restriction. It's just basically a large resonator. Again, that helps tone down the rasp and gives it a nice throaty growl. So starting again from the Borla muffler, the dual inlet, moving toward the front of the car, we eliminated the Y pipe. We did have a 1320 Performance Y pipe, but I didn't like that. I wanted to really increase flow and reduce restriction, and by basically essentially installing a resonated X pipe, we were able to even out the tone of the exhaust, but also keep the flow going nicely from 2.5 inch diameter pipes. We initially installed it without flex pipe because I hate flex pipe, but there's so much torque and vibration in this engine that even at idle, when the AC compressor would kick on, the exhaust was so tight that there was some weird vibration. So we added the X pipe in, or I decided to add the X pipe in to try to reduce some of that vibration, and it worked out great. And these are really durable, heavy-duty 6-inch flex pipe sections. I think I was saying X pipe on accident. Flex pipe sections from Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below, but that really got rid of a lot of that unnecessary or unwanted vibration. And then we're up to test pipes currently because we're taking the car to the track, right? Test pipes are not street legal, especially if you're in a state where they test smog. You go from test pipes or cats or high flow cats, whatever you have installed, but we go from them to dual inlet Borla Pro XS muffler, which we split back to Flow FX resonators, 20-inch resonators. Right there. And to some 4-inch dual wall stainless tips. Now, inevitably, when you are talking about custom exhaust setups, especially it seems like for these cars, you are going to get some pushback because there are guys that are exhaust fanboys. They love their brand, whether it's Motordyne or whatever else. They cannot see or even think about fathoming an alternative setup to what they're currently running. The fact is that I haven't heard any exhaust systems that sound that great, especially when you add test pipes. There's really nothing on the market, in my opinion, that can handle the rasp properly, but this system here, this system that I have set up does it. And if you've seen some of my other exhaust videos, it sounds fantastic. The camera doesn't do it justice. You got to hear this car in person. It sounds incredible. But besides being exhaust fanboys, one thing they always talk about is quality. Here's the deal. If your exhaust shop is using quality stainless steel and they know how to weld, there's no difference. You know at a shop it's hand welded, and if you're working with guys, like I said, that know how to weld, you can trust it. Getting a mass-produced exhaust system from a factory somewhere, you don't know who's welding it, you don't know what kind of machine is welding it, you don't know anything. You don't see how it's done. It's just welded up and pushed out the door. It's mass-produced. So quality, it is what it is. The other thing they'll try to get you on is, oh, it's not mandrel bent. Well, there's all those bends are crushed. They're crushed bends and they restrict flow and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give you some information here. Go take a look back at some of my older exhaust videos. I explain this kind of in detail with some demonstrations about velocity and flow. A good exhaust system wants a good combination of velocity and flow. You want it free flowing, but you want to keep that exhaust flowing at a high velocity. So in order to do that, it needs to be open, but it can't be super large. So you don't want a huge diameter exhaust, depending on what kind of power and flow your engine is producing. But you don't want it too small because you don't want it restricted. But in general, if you're around that 2 1/4, 2.5 inch exhaust pipe and you have some of these crushed bends, it's not going to be an issue unless it's at like severe angles. If you're trying to do 90-degree exhaust angles, it's probably not going to work out because you're going to start really restricting that flow. You might have high velocity through those bends because of the restriction, but the flow isn't going to be that great. By flow, of course, I mean the volume of air moving through the pipe. If it's too restricted, of course, you're not moving a lot of volume. But if you have, wide angle bends like this, it's not going to be a problem. It really doesn't reduce the diameter of the pipe all that much. And even if it's reduced by 1/4 of an inch or so, it's not all that significant. Looking at these angles too, not too bad at all. Here's the rule that I like to say when it comes to exhaust. Restriction by constriction is okay. Restriction by obstruction, not okay. Dang, I didn't even notice that dent there before. Shoot. We clearly have no obstruction of flow in this setup. Because that muffler is just a large resonator with a crossover, the air flows relatively freely through it. Where you get restriction, again, is severe angle bends in your system. Mufflers, there's obstruction because of baffles. That's with an exhaust shop that doesn't know what they're doing, and they have joints at weird angles where there might be some pipe overlap or some pipe hanging, sticking inside of this pipe. That could cause some obstruction and some weird flowing velocities or some weird turbulence in your exhaust gases. But as long as everything is relatively freely flowing, it's going to be just fine. Too many people read things and they don't read between the lines. They're going to read descriptions of exhaust systems by the manufacturers of the exhaust systems. Of course they're going to try to sell their product. So everything they do, whether it's the bending or it's the muffler or the resonator they use, they're going to talk it up in one way or another. Of course, they're not going to say this actually doesn't make any difference. They're just going to say this is a benefit, when in reality, it makes no difference at all. I've actually had people make comments and say, oh, you're trying to say that you have the best sounding exhaust system, but you use Flowmaster resonators. Well, I got some news for you. Some of these high dollar exhaust systems that you're purchasing, they're using Vibrant resonators, or they're using MagnaFlow resonators or mufflers. They're just not labeled Flowmaster, Vibrant, or MagnaFlow. But the truth is, those big muffler companies are mass producing resonators and mufflers like crazy, selling them to these specialty exhaust companies like Motordyne. So honestly, don't let name brands fool you. Don't let marketing fool you. Good quality stainless steel, it's good at a Motordyne factory. It's good at your local exhaust shop. Obviously want to use quality flanges. Use Vibrant flanges, or heavy duty flex pipe.
The other thing you hear people say is, like the Motordyne because it looks nice, it's pretty, it's shiny, right? Sorry, not a show car. I like to go to shows and meets, but rarely do I set a mirror underneath the car, and it's too low anyway that you can't stick your head under there and see what it looks like, but it really doesn't look all that bad. Here's a left to right, front to back view from under the car. I don't get under there and polish it like those factory exhaust systems, but looks pretty clean anyway. Now, I like to keep the tips clean, and I polish the resonators every once in a while because you can see them from the rear of the car, but I don't know anyone that gets under the car on a regular basis and polishes their exhaust system. So once you get one of those fancy, shiny stainless systems and get it installed and drive down the road, all that shine is gone immediately anyway, so not that big of a deal to me. Now, how did I get this done for less than $500? Let me tell you the secret. I'd say one of the secrets is that you have to look around your area, and don't be afraid to drive a little ways away because they're kind of tough to find, but find a really high quality local exhaust shop. Don't go to one of those big, name brand exhaust muffler shops. Go to a local guy. Support local business, but they're always the ones that care the most. Luckily for me, about 40 miles away, I have Inman Muffler in Inman, South Carolina, and they do great work. They like cars, they care about keeping their customers happy, and they have great prices. So how I was able to do this for under $500, I had bought a couple of things in advance. So I got the flanges, $20. I got the resonators off Amazon, the Flow FX resonators, $40 a piece, and the U-Power dual wall 4-inch stainless tips. And those are $30, but I'll give you the prices. So anyway, I took those to the shop. They had the muffler, the Borla Pro XS muffler that I wanted, and I said, get me the muffler and how much to install this all together. So muffler and installation was $250 charged by the shop. Now, don't let other shops push you around. This is something you have to take into consideration. All shops are obviously different. Some just don't want to do this type of work, but I've heard of people getting estimates of $500 or more. That's nonsense. This job literally took less than 45 minutes. It's an easy job to do if they just are willing to do it. So don't get pushed around for price. Shop around, get a good deal. So for a Borla muffler and installation, they charge $250. Combine that with the $80 for the resonators. What is that? That's $330. $20 for the flanges, that's $350, and $30 for the 4-inch tips. What is that? $370? I'll even throw in the flex pipe that I did later on, which was also, I think, $15 a piece, so $30 for the heavy duty flex pipe. So what are we at now? I can't even add 400 something. It's $410, you moron. So $410 it cost me for this complete exhaust setup, not including high flow cats or test pipes. Test pipes, $110, so technically you could get a full exhaust system for $520 or $530, something like that. But nonetheless, the catback system cost me $410. I left a little leeway in the title of the video and the topic. It's under $500. I'm confident that you all can replicate this for that amount. Now, an exhaust shop might be able to get you a better deal on a muffler, but if you want to buy this Borla Pro XS muffler off Amazon, it's $139 right now, which isn't too bad. It's a high quality Borla muffler, and it is a true resonated X pipe with a true crossover, no flow restriction. It's a great muffler. It makes a really, really nice, smooth exhaust note. Definitely recommend it. The Flowmaster Flow FX resonators are $39 a piece. That's basically 80 bucks combined with the $140 Borla muffler. So $220 for your resonators and muffler. Again, flanges are 20 bucks. Flex pipe for 2 of them is $20 to $30. And that's it. So, well, the tips are 30 bucks. So not a whole lot in pieces. The trick is finding a shop that's willing to do the installation for not an outrageous amount of money. So really, truly, a really nice sounding exhaust system that performs well, making 330 horsepower, almost 280 foot-pounds of torque, compared to those exhaust systems that are on the market for $1,500, $1,800, $2,000. There is absolutely no comparison. This sounds better, it performs just as good or better, and I would not choose to go any other route. I am super happy with what I have right now in the system. And if you guys have any questions related to the exhaust that I have currently, leave them in the comment section below. I will certainly answer each and every one of them, and check out the description as well. I'll have links to all of the parts involved. Thank you guys very much for watching. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the first of the year, and I know we can do it with your help, so I appreciate your support very, very much. Like and subscribe and all that stuff, and we'll see you in the next video.